Happy Sunday. It is Easter Sunday. Most of us know it as that. It is a day of celebration to most of us that know the truth that Christ came, lived, was crucified for our sins and for us to have this life today. All of that had to happen in order for us to have this life. On the third day, he rose. And I just wanted to come here because until we all know the truth, no matter where you're coming from, you know, the bridge is very narrow, and only through Christ we'll walk into the light. And that very narrow bridge is open to all of us, you know, because through Christ we're going in, and Christ is love. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. You know, people that are guided by their spirit in God, and they call it different things. Some people might say, oh, and they're guided by the stars as well. They're saying, oh, they're new age, they're not Christians, or they start putting labels on people, right? And that's what I wanted to talk about. You know, there's all these different groups that people even identify that, oh, I'm Christian, or I'm this, or I'm that. But all those groups, all the groups that are led by the light, they're all guided by Jesus. If you actually had some conversations with these people, that they don't consider this a Christian because they know that the truth is we just gotta follow Christ. And so name it whatever you want it. Some people think that Christians are religion, but they're just followers. They are guided by the Bible, right? And the Bible was made, which a lot of people don't know, was put together by a king. And he got all the different, basically testimonies, different books from the different people, and then put it in this book, and that's the Bible, right? The Old Testament and the New Testament. Well, there's a lot of things that are in there from different perspectives of different people, very important people in history that have been hidden. They have been hidden or bashed because the ones that have been controlling didn't want that truth to come out. So I'll give you an example. Less than 100 years ago, actually 100 years ago, in the early 1900s, they found in Egypt, in that region, they found, I don't know exactly where they found them, but they found the scrolls. They found different testimonies of different people. So there was these people called Gnostics. Gnostics were Jewish people that they would just write down, you know, all the events of everything happening. These people were really followers of the truth and followers of Christ, and moved out of Jerusalem after Christ was crucified. And they put all these different books together. And at one point, they're able to live that way and record everything as it was going on and stuff. And then after, being able to keep all this knowledge. But at one point, the Catholic Church got so strong, and you know, whatever they wanted would go. And if another group was coming out with a different story than theirs, they were going to close it down. They didn't want the truth to come out, right? So at one point, the Pope at the time ordered the Gnostics to be done for. You either converted to Catholic, and you couldn't bring none of this extra stuff that you're trying to bring, which is the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. So many books, guys, and this is all real stuff. So anyway, so the Gnostics were very, you know, very much about the truth, not about violence. So they weren't going to fight. So they did the next best thing. They hid all the knowledge that they had, and they did what they thought was best at the time, and it was to convert. Even if they would convert in the eyes of man, they were just doing it to not be killed, you know. And unfortunately, when you do things and you start lying, even if it's to survive, it starts creating a web. And that's what happened to all of us. And you know, because again, the story is that Jesus, after he was crucified, all the disciples took off, because they knew if that happened to the king, the son of the king, you know, of God, what's going to happen to us? We didn't want to have that fate. And plus we knew that we were supposed to go spread the word, right? The truth. And so after that, on Good Friday, he was crucified. On the third day is when he rose. And here's a really something that's been covered up over and over, because you got to remember, God made man, woman, and when man and woman unite, they create divinity, which is the child. And only a man and a woman can do that, right? So when Jesus came, one of the main things he did, he came and walked along Mary Magdalene. Now, who was Mary Magdalene? In the Bible, we have it over and over that she was a whore, prostitute. You name it, that's what they say she was. But let's get in the head right now, right? In those times, if you were not the companion, the wife of a man, you really didn't just walk along his side. In that time, it was all about the man leading, and women couldn't just be around men like that. Okay. And let's just say, okay, he wanted to show balance. He walked around with Mary Magdalene. At one point in the book of Thomas, which again, remember, all this stuff came out about 100 years ago, and it is available to you. You can look up these books. I recommend I already named him, the book of Thomas, because Thomas was just writing down everything Jesus said. And in that book, it says that Peter would ask Jesus, why is Mary your favorite disciple? Because she was always next to him. Well, that was his wife. And why do I say wife? I'm not the only one that says that was his wife. Jesus was about 33 years old. That's what they calculate he was at the time. And you got to remember, all this was documented by the Romans, the people that are telling the story, right? So it was highly documented what had happened. And so anyways, at that time, if someone would pass, and even now legally, if someone passes in the hospital, or the person that's going to make the arrangements for the funeral, who does those arrangements? If you're single, your parents do it. Your siblings do it, right? Legally. If you're married, your spouse has to do the arrangements. Only the spouse can go into the hospital, right? When something's going on. Who's the one that signs papers? So from the beginning, it's always been that. So why would they allow Mary Magdalene, a prostitute, to go anoint the body of Jesus? Because that's what she did with myrrh and frankincense. That's what they would put on the body. And these elements are amazing, guys. Frankincense brings back memory. Frankincense heals the body, removes even cancers. And this is what they would anoint the bodies. And so it wasn't the mother of Jesus that went to anoint the body. Why not? If it was my son, if Jesus was my son, and there's just this disciple walking along and she's a prostitute, do you think I'm going to allow her to anoint my son? Or is this his wife that walks along? Because now you have truth of what really happened. Now it's up to you to look for it, because if you just want to look at the Bible, you're never going to know the truth, because there's so many things missing of the puzzle of the great story. Mary Magdalene was a high priestess, and that's why she was also allowed to marry into noble blood, because she was of noble blood. And it was about balance and truth. So again, let's go back with facts. So Mary Magdalene is the one that anoints Jesus, puts the oils on him. And this is recorded in the Bible. So if we want to really look at it, common sense, if we really want to use our brain, who is Mary Magdalene? Mary Magdalene was the wife of Jesus. Now, why do they want to not share that truth? Because then divinity was created. Because it is told, and the story, the bones of Mary Magdalene. Now, I think we're in a time that they can probably test for DNA and all that good stuff, but the bones of Mary Magdalene are in a basilica in France, and you can look this up. She took off to France and Switzerland, and she continued her story. She gave birth, the story is told, to a little girl. It's even in that movie, The Da Vinci Code, right? They always try to duplicate, you know, they make these movies either to program you or try to tell you the truth, or make it so like unreal that you're like, no, that can't be true. It's a movie. But no, this was true. So after she had the child, I am certain that the child was ripped away so that the child could survive. And this is what, you know, it said that the Templares were taking care of the blood of Christ. Anyways, but the truth, you know, what we have in facts is that she continued to France. Her bones are in a basilica in France, and she continued her story. And she continued, you know, if you read the book of Mary Magdalene, her gospel, you'll understand she was very much of this time, very much balanced, because she knew the truth. You know, you connect to yourself, and then you hear the truth. You don't have to hear it from a rabbi. You don't have to hear it from a pope, from anybody else. We're all the same, guys. Remember, Jesus came and did the things that we don't do as humans, but he came in that human form, and he did it. He went through the desert for 40 days. He didn't eat. He didn't drink. Why? Because he had a question in his heart, and he was fighting. It says in the Bible he was fighting with the devil. Well, yeah, guess what? Maybe he didn't have something clear, and he went for 40 days, and he didn't eat, and he didn't drink, and he was in the desert. Do we do that when we have a question, or what are we doing? Do we connect to God and say, oh, wait, do we have a question? Let me detach from the world. And no, we don't do that. Jesus did that. Jesus is the ultimate. He did everything for us to have this. We have all this abundance. We have all these distractions, all this food. We never even detox. Even when I talk about intermittent fasting, which is only not eating for 16 hours, you eat for 8 hours in a day. Even when I say that, that's like too much for people. Are you guys going to do what Jesus did? 40 days? Because let me tell you what happens when you don't, when you detox for 40 days. Now, Jesus knew, I'm sure, I wasn't there, but it is written that this is what happened. The disciples wrote it, that he left for 40 days. Well, now we understand that if you don't eat for 40 days, your body does like a complete reboot. We need water as humans. We need, you know, minerals to survive. So I don't recommend that you do that 40 days without eating. But if you want to do it, there's a lot of people out there that will help you. And if you do it with, you know, herbs and tea and stuff like that, I'm sure it is okay. I don't personally recommend it. I don't do it. I only recommend what I do. And I only do intermittent fasting. Anyways, getting back to this, Jesus did everything, and he came as an equal, as one of us. And he came to show us the truth, the balance of man and woman. Now, again, they didn't want, we've been living in a male realm, right? They didn't want the woman to be equal, because then the prophecy would be met. They weren't ready to have that. You got to remember that in this time, men was always the one that, you know, had the knowledge or was on top of everything. Not necessarily have the knowledge, but they were on top. Any type of, you know, the Romans, everybody, the hierarchy, it was always the men. They wouldn't allow the women. The women were more like pawns, because they knew that once they brought the woman in the balance, then we would know the truth, that we were all equal, and they didn't want that. They wanted to overcome. So 6,000 years of that happens, or 4,000, and then Christ comes and shows balance with his wife. That was, you know, a different, you know, wasn't a Jewish woman. And he came to show that we were all the same, because that was his story. Remember, he brought that the whole world could be part of this covenant. It wasn't just the Jewish, you know. He came as our brother to the world. He called our father, right? God, our Father. So he came so he could, You know, he didn't come. You got to understand, God could have come as our father in a father form, but he came as our brother to show equality, that we could be that, you know, that we're all the same. Anyway, so I don't want to make this video so long, because then you guys lose track. And I want you guys to celebrate Easter, and I want you guys to celebrate this time. I just wanted to come on here and bring you some truth and bring you some light, because until we know the truth, we're not going to rise, and we're already here. So I've been thinking, God, what were you going to bring this Easter, this Passover? What was it going to be? Because everything's been happening really fast since 2020. It's been a big wake-up call for all of us, and God is not waiting for any of us to wake up. He is waking us up like that. So I was like, what's going to happen this Easter, you know? And here it is. It's just truth. It's just sharing more truth. This is it. A lot of people don't want to believe that Mary Magdalene was the wife of Jesus. But come on, let's think. Let's use everything God gave us. Let's research. Let's really look at the truth. Don't miss out. You know, my Jewish brothers and sisters, open the Bible of the New Testament. Please know the new stuff. If you have questions, ask me. And I'm talking about my Jewish brothers and sisters that follow the religion, Jewish religion, not the blood, because I'm the blood, but I follow the truth, Christ, right? Which is love. The narrow bridge, we're all going there. It's just about breaking the lies. A lot of it is just not knowing truth. So ask questions. Let's be aware, and that's when we're going to know. You know, everybody, we're all going to that same narrow path. We're all being led by Christ. That's why people call it Christ consciences, because we're rising to that conscience of Jesus, right? And love, and it's all there. So let's, you know, my Christian friends and people that are, some of them are, you guys are, it's this way or no way. No, come on, guys, don't judge. It's not our job to judge. It's our job to be and live our truth, and our truth is love. So let's not be angry, let's not be scared, and let's unite. Love you guys, and happy Easter. It's a beautiful day.